Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to the show. As always, I'm your host, Justin Archer, aka Sensei of the Optimized Self Dojo and Show. For those of you tuning in for the first time and are wondering what the Optimized Self Show and Dojo and Optimized Self.Ninja is all about, or actually for some of our Canadian ninjas and ninjettes that wrote in today, I guess for them I would say all a boot. Love Canada, by the way. More on that later. But really what the show is all about is kind of what it says there right on your screen, is we're all about rediscovering health, upgrading fitness, and optimizing wellness, all while having fun, kicking ass through lifestyle design. And those last two keywords there are key. It's lifestyle design. It's not just through exercise or just through diet. It's really take into consideration all the foundations of your health: breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, movement, exercise, not to mention things like your environment and mindset, both of which are always positively or negatively influencing the other 7 foundations of health that I just previously mentioned. So taking all that into consideration and crafting, designing your lifestyle so that you can overcome whatever it is you're currently struggling with, whether it be chronic pain or weight gain or trying to grow stronger or build muscle, et cetera, et cetera. So you can do that as quickly, efficiently, simply as possible. All right, that's what we're all about. So let's see, today we're going to be talking about how self-care is healthcare, discussing how long it takes to see results using the Optimized Self system, as well as how to go about aging gracefully. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to take this off, say hi to everyone, and let me, I know I've been promising to get a lower third made, which, truth be told, I need my wife's help with. She is the designer of the two of us, to create a little lower thirds down here. So right now I'm kind of doing it the old copy paste type way, and YouTube/Google kind of allows for this to be done rather quickly. Like I just made that, and literally when you saw me looking at the screen. So that's my name. You can find me over at optimizedself.ninja, and let's get right into it. All right. So first of all, I would like to say a special thanks to Barbara Columbus, who actually donated I don't know if she wants me to say, but a significant amount to thepostureguy.com. Now, for those of you that don't know, and Barbara, I will definitely send you a link to this timestamp so you can watch this. You know, Barbara, as well as many others, know me from my last kind of health, fitness, wellness endeavor, which is thepostureguy.com. I've been doing posture alignment therapy for 7-8 years, helping people get out of chronic pain symptoms, increase mobility, flexibility, overall functionality, through the use of postural corrective exercises, and it's been great. Had a lot of fun. Really, Optimized Self.Ninja is the successor to. It includes everything that I did and offered on the postureguy.com, and just takes it one step further. So not just focusing on exercise, but looking at everything from a lifestyle standpoint, like I previously spoke about in the introduction. So Barbara actually, like I said, made a donation to that. I don't even know if she knows yet about Optimized Self .Ninja and the show and the dojo and all that, but she will after this. So I wanted to read the very nice email here that she wrote. Says she lives in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. Absolutely love it there. Last year, my wife and I spent 4.5 months in Vancouver, and absolutely loved it. Actually, we're still kind of traveling around indefinitely, but we will probably settle down in Bellingham. For those of you that don't know, that's about 20 minutes, I'd say, south of the Canadian border. So Barbara, we will probably be your neighbors to the south and visit often. We absolutely love Canada. I'm turning this into a travel show. Anyways, Barbara says, I'm 66 years old, have worked at a desk job for 50 years, Over time, I began to develop pain and stiffness in my hips, knees, and now it's everywhere, head to toe. 10 years ago, my family doctor sent me to a rheumatologist who poked and prodded for an hour until finally diagnosing me with fibromyalgia and arthritis, two common cop-outs, as we know. I was so relieved to have a diagnosis that I never considered there could be other reasons for pain. X-rays have shown arthritis in knees and shoulders and lower back, so it makes sense that I have it. It sounds like Rice Krispies when you add the milk, but how did I get this? The experts told me I have fibromyalgia, and again, how did I get this? Doctors don't like to be questioned. They have trouble accepting alternative medicine. I can't tell you how many times my doctor has patted me on the head and told me if I want to go to a chiropractor, massage therapist, then by all means go. Meanwhile, take this pill and that pill and live with it, or have knee replacement surgery or rotator cuff surgery. A few days ago, I woke up and realized I have to do my own research and listen to my own common sense. When I look in the mirror, I see troubling forward head posture and all that goes along with it, as well as my knees are actually deformed, giving me a bow-legged appearance with enlarged knees. I look very much like the photo your client in this YouTube video you posted last year. There's a link, but more extreme head forward posture. Your video made so much sense and very easy to follow. Anything that doesn't require pills or surgery or a cane or a walker is something I need to try. Sure, I have fibromyalgia, which simply means pain, but with the help of your exercises and videos, I'm now in the driver's seat. Thank you so much for all that you do to help people, Barbara Columbus. And so I know that was a lengthy email, but I think it bared being read and shared out loud. And Barbara, I want to say thank you for that. It's those types of emails, this type of interaction, which is exactly why I get up every morning and do what it is I do. And so there's a couple things I wanted to touch on here, and I'm going to be scanning here, so excuse me. You mentioned, let's see, stiffness in hips, knees, head, toe. Yeah, usually if there's overall pain in the body and doctors don't know what it is, they usually will go with, oh, it's fibromyalgia. It's a perfect kind of scapegoat, as well as arthritis. And, I've talked about this before about arthritis and fibromyalgia, and a lot of the ISISs and OSISs are less diagnoses and more adjectives, really $10 word, fancy term, medical adjectives. Take arthritis, for example. The prefix arth means joint. The suffix isis means inflammation. So basically when you say arthritis, you're just saying joint inflammation. And I can't tell you how many times I've worked with people and they said, they go to the doctor and say something like, hey, doc, I seem to have some inflammation in my knee joints. And they say, oh, you have arthritis. And they come back and they tell me that. I said, basically, and I know it sounds rude. I don't mean to be to doctors, because there's some very great doctors out there and we need them. But I said, basically what happened is you told them you have joint inflammation, the joint in particular for this example, say his knee. And I said, like a parrot, they just kind of gussied up the wording, made it fancier, and put the label of arthritis on it, which literally means joint inflammation. So you came in, you told them you have joint inflammation, and they repeated back to you just using one word instead of two or multiple words or sentences, saying back to you, you have joint inflammation. And I go, so think of the exchange there. You went in, told them you have joint inflammation. They told you in one word, arthritis, that you have joint inflammation. Great, they can listen, they can repeat back what you said to them in one word. But the next question I would say to pose to yourself, or that I would pose to anyone, is, okay, well, there's joint inflammation, but what causes a joint to get inflamed? What causes inflammation in the first place? And if you do a little research, you'll quickly learn that it's rubbing, it's abrasion, right? And so you go, okay, well, what is, for example, let's go with the knee arthritis. What's happening with the upper and lower leg that's allowing those bones to grind, to rub together when they're not supposed to? Okay, well, yeah, there's maybe a imbalance in length and tension of the muscles, tendons, ligaments that's allowing this to occur. Okay, and that's what's causing inflammation. So it's a muscular imbalance that's allowing the rubbing to go together. But what if we restore that muscular balance, strengthen certain muscles, stretch other muscles, also pay attention to the other foundations of health: breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, movement, exercise, and we return balance front to back, left to right of the body, to then pull these once rubbing bones together, which was causing inflammation, right, which is inflammation, joint inflammation, aka arthritis. Now we don't have that anymore, and it goes back to just being a normal knee joint and functioning that way, and not grinding and not causing inflammation, not causing you joint pain. Well, then basically what we have done is quintessentially cured the arthritis. Arthritis, with the very, very rare exception, is not something permanent. Again, it's just it's a $10 fancy word, medical adjective to describe succinctly your current situation. But I've seen time and time again on myself, on people I've worked with, more and more stories that, yeah, now you don't have that abrasion, that rubbing going on in the joint. You don't have inflammation of the joint or joint inflammation. Remember, is arth is joint, isis inflammation. So now you don't any longer have arthritis. So yes, there is hope, and there is something that most certainly can be done about it. Arthritis is just one example. Let's see. So there was something else that really hit home here for me, and I thought it would be good to share with others. Yeah, you said that you woke up and realized that you have to do your own research and listen to your own common sense. And I think that is that's very true. That's huge too, for most people to make that realization. Something that I think escapes people is self-care is healthcare. It doesn't just have to be from a doctor or an expert. You can care for yourself, and we all know the old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So yeah, self-care is healthcare, and your health begins and ends with you. I always say, it's usually a good idea to listen to experts, whether it be doctors, chiropractors, other specialists or experts, which I don't really like to refer to myself as. I'm just someone with 13 plus years experience in the health, fitness, wellness, as I say, making bodies better world. But if you want to throw me in there with them, it's usually a good idea, not always. It's usually a good idea to listen to experts, but it's always a bad idea to do what they say, including me. Take everything that the doctor, the chiropractor, the PT, me, anybody else that you choose to listen to, and then you have to kind of run it through your own filter of common sense, and then do your own research and make an informed decision on how are you going to move forward, what are you going to do next. So I think that's key. And also I think that speaks towards your health. It belongs to you, so take ownership of it. And I love outsourcing work and things like that, but your health, if there's something above and beyond your expertise, either learn it yourself, or at least learn enough to then go have have a talk with someone who knows more about it than you. But yeah, that's not something that you should just completely outsource to a doctor or someone else. And unfortunately, more and more people are doing that nowadays. I ask them, well, why is this, or why do you think that? Well, my doctor said. Okay, in a perfect world, I would have them there in the room too, and I would say, hey doc, why did you say this, or why do you believe this to be true? But I ask them, since I don't have that, I go, well, why did your doctor say? Well, I don't know. Well, what did they base that on? What blood test did you take, or what did your X-rays, MRI show? Well, I don't know. And it's like, okay, these are things, you definitely got to ask about. I always tell people, when it comes to your health, you want to be like an annoying 2-year-old and ask why, until you either get an answer that you like and want, or at the very least, option B is get an answer you may not like or be happy with, but at least you understand. Don't let doctors or other health, fitness, wellness people, including myself, just spout off medical jargon and things like that, and just kind of nod and sit there You know, you gotta speak up and say, hey, no, you know, this thing that you just explained, I don't understand that. Can you explain it to me in another way, or find someone that can, or recommend a book or something like that. So kudos to Barbara and anyone else who's doing so. That's actually, I see is hard for a lot of people to do. Let's see, what else? Barbara, two other things is, you know, I'm happy that you found value in the video post that I put out over on thepostureguy.com, and I would like to, you know, deliver you more value and be of continual service to you. And what I always recommend people to do is, I definitely believe that higher quality answers are, you know, can be found or achieved by asking higher quality questions. So in a way, I always tell people, kind of help me help you. And the way I recommend doing that is if you head on over to optimizedself.ninja, there'll be the logo at the top, a video player where this episode will be posted, along with drop down a playlist of other past episodes if you want to watch that. And then below that will be a big red-orange button, and I believe it says click here to find out what's to uncover what's holding you back. I believe that's the text. But anyways, big red-orange button. Click on that, and that will allow you to take the Optimized Self test. And it's basically a simple form, takes a few minutes to fill out, and it'll ask you to kind of gauge how you believe you're doing, as well as what you're basing those beliefs on things like your breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, movement, exercise, environment, mindset, basically on a 1 to 10 scale. And then there'll be a place for you to ask me questions. And with that information, I can give you more precise answers. Okay, so I definitely recommend you check that out. And also, as a thank you, you know, for your donation, that was very thoughtful of you. You know, I would like to invite you to be a part of the Optimized Self Dojo, and don't even worry about having to purchase a membership. You already made a donation, and I'm very grateful for that. So I will be sending you an invite to that. If you want to learn about what is in the Optimized Self Dojo, just scroll down where you click on that red-orange button to take the Optimized Self test over at optimizedself.ninja. Scroll down, and it'll tell you everything that's included with that membership. Okay, but there's definitely going to be some really helpful things, including, oops, sorry, I lost my spot. The Optimized Self First Aid Kit, which will give you exercise routines to relieve some of these chronic pain symptoms that you referred to, as well as then, you know, how to step by step go about optimizing each of the foundations of your health. All right, so that way you get the most bang for your buck in terms of time and energy spent doing exercises to improve your posture and get out of pain. We want to make sure that every last ounce of time and energy you put into that, you're going to get the most out of, and that you're not doing anything else. Like, for example, I'm not saying you are, but for example, something in your diet or something, you know, not being chronically dehydrated, that would take away from your efforts in the exercise, right? You don't want to get a big fancy new speedboat and go, hey, let's go on the lake, but oh, before we do that, there's poked holes in the boat. It doesn't matter how fancy the boat is or how big of an engine, you're not going to go anywhere if there's, you know, holes in it. So that's what the Optimized Self Dojo will help you plug those holes, help you have a nice engine. I don't know where I came up with this this boat and analogy, but we'll go with it. So anyways, check that out. I will send you, like I said, an invite to the Optimized Self Dojo, which is basically a private Facebook group. Inside there, it's kind of an accountability support mastermind group. We do live weekly trainings every Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which, yeah, I believe we are on these, yeah, we're in the same time zone. So that's each Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then also in there, in the Files tab, you will get access to the Optimized Self Arsenal. And that is basically a live organic document that really, again, step by step shows you how to go about optimizing each of the foundations of your health. This is basically if you want to say principles or guidelines, the most important things that I share with my one-on-one clients and retainer clients. So definitely go check that out. All right. And when you get in there, please say hi to me and the other Optimized Self ninjas and ninjettes and let us know what you need help with. And we are more than happy to help. All right. So thank you very much once again, Barbara, for writing the email, for your donation. I really appreciate it, as well as for some of the things you said in your email, which I think, you know, I think a lot of people could learn from, and that's why I wanted to share it here. You know, is getting back in the driver's seat of your health, taking responsibility for your health, and doing what needs to be done in order to get the results that you want. So, again, kudos to you for doing that, and I look forward to seeing you inside the Optimized Self Dojo. Now, something I forgot to mention before I went on to this this first email and started to address Barbara was the Optimized Self Ninja drinking game. And if Barbara's watching, sorry now, she goes, all right, what's going on here? No, we're not drinking alcohol. I usually drink between each question a drink of water, which actually later on in YouTube I put timestamps so people can jump right to certain topic points. So when I see this, when I'm going back and editing, I can put them in there. It makes it easier, as well as it keeps everyone hydrated. So I drink, you drink. Cheers. Now, what I also have today, if you want something with a little bit more of a kick, is some bulletproof coffee. Basically, if you don't know what it is, it's coffee, freshly ground, hand ground right before, and some grass-fed butter and some MCT oil. I also put a little bit of xylitol and stevia in for sweetener, but it's really good. I actually did a whole post on bulletproof coffee over on thepostureguy.com, so I'll try to remember to link that up in the show notes over on YouTube, okay? So, cheers. I was speaking long, it kind of cooled off, but it's still good. Okay, so Barbara, thank you very much. And let's move on to a YouTube comment that I got from Mcpvpstuff. Obviously that's not a name, that's a username. Mcpvpstuff. So Mcpvpstuff from YouTube comments on a video that I did. And this one's been gaining some popularity. It's a video called, do you have to stretch your hamstrings to touch your toes? Short answer, no. If you want to learn more about that, I'll link it up in the show notes and you can take a look for yourself. But the question was, and I actually talked a little bit about this. I read this comment and talked about it on Saturday's live training inside the Optimized Self Dojo. So if you're a dojo member, go head over there and watch that. That was on Valentine's Day, that's right. So the question was, and basically I talked about, to give you a short little summary of what I talked about, was that just because you can't touch your toes doesn't mean you have tight hamstrings, or that you have to, or if you do have tight hamstrings, you don't have to stretch them to feed slack to them or the rest of your body to enable you to touch your toes. There's other ways of going about it, most of which are actually more efficient, all right? And then I show a couple exercises that you can do to get you closer to touching your toes and eventually touching your toes. And Mcpvpstuff comments and asks, how long will this possibly take? After a day of doing these exercises, I can actually touch the floor. Yay. But the next day, everything tightens up. So that's a frown face. Is there a permanent solution? I need to get my palms down to the floor as I'm extremely flat-footed. I need to be flexible in my legs and feet and my back. Okay. So this is a question that I often get asked, maybe not just about hamstring flexibility, but things in general. How long is it going to take? And I totally get it, because we all, you know, instant gratification. We always want to, you know, things happen sooner rather than later. I'm no different. You know, I'm impatient. The thing you have to keep in mind is that your hamstrings didn't get stiff and tight overnight, right? Or if you're dealing with something else, if it's with you know, being overweight or having hip pain or anything like that, none of these things happen overnight, unless it's like my hip hurts and, oh yeah, I was just hit by a car or something. Obviously, you have cause and effect, or if you were shot or fell down some stairs. But bearing any, you know, tragic accident like that, chronic pain symptoms, chronic muscular tightness, like in the hamstrings, this accumulated over time, okay? So I think it's important to remember that it didn't happen overnight or even over a week. So it's going to take more than a day or a week to have permanent results. Now, how long should it take to see results in terms of, hey, can I touch my toes better? Well, just like Mcpvpstuff, I don't even know that's how you say the username, but I'm saying it that way. Mcpvpstuff commented is after doing the exercise, I can actually touch the floor. So yeah, boom, you see instantaneous results, and that's what I would definitely recommend. But as far as how long, how long is it going to take to be permanent? I think how long is the wrong question, really. And instead, I would suggest asking yourself, what caused this? Because contrary to popular belief, hamstrings don't just tighten up just to mess with you and piss you off. They have better things to do, but they do tighten up sometimes, and sometimes for quite a while. So ask yourself, what caused this, and what do you have to change in order to get the results you want? And keep in mind that total health is accumulative, and muscular tension or tightness is a part of a process, not an event. Okay, so the reason your hamstrings are tight is not something that you did in the last day, week, or probably even month. It was probably built out over months, years, or depending on how old you are, decades. Okay, and it's not just has to do with exercise. It has to do with your lifestyle. So to fix tight hamstrings, or any other muscle for that matter, it's important to keep in mind your entire lifestyle. You can't stretch your hamstrings into being more flexible if you're chronically dehydrated, or if you're chronically sleep deprived, or if you have improper breathing mechanics, or these things. So you have to factor in your breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, movement, exercise, as well as environment, mindset. Because if you don't, you're always going to be kind of doing this one step forward, one step back, or possibly one step forward and two steps back kind of dance, and you'll see short-term progress or results like you have, and then it'll either totally go away or get worse. So again, it's important to remember that it's a lifestyle change. And to learn more about this, what I'd recommend, just like I recommended Barbara or anyone else to do who hasn't already done so, is to head on over to optimizedself.ninja, and under the video player at the top of the page, there's a red-orange button, right? And you want to click on that, and that will then send you sign up, put your email address in, and then it'll send you a link to take the Optimized Self test. And what that'll do is help you kind of gauge and self-reflect how you're doing, in each of those foundations of health. It'll also give you a place to then ask me a bit more precise questions, because your questions will be more precise after you've gone through gauging each of those foundations of health. And when I receive that, I will have the information I need to give you a more precise answer. Because at this point, all I can say is what I've said so far. But if I knew, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, here's how you're doing on breathing or hydration and sleep and et cetera, then I can tell you, here, adjust this, or focus your attention here, or use this thing, or you may look into this resource. I can give you a much more specific answer that's unique to your current situation. Okay, so that's why I'd recommend head on over to optimizedself.ninja, take the Optimized Self test. And last but certainly not least, probably the most important, that's why I left it for last, is to remember something called the Rent Axiom, which I don't know if Roy Vaden came up with, but that's who I first heard it from, so I'll credit him with it, Roy Vaden. The Rent Axiom, which goes, success is never owned, it is only rented, and the rent is due every day. And success could be replaced with health, fitness, wellness, good relationship with your significant other, financial success, but let's replace it now with hamstring flexibility. Okay, so the Rent Axiom would be hamstring flexibility is never owned, it is only rented, and the rent is due every day. So what does that mean more specifically? Well, it means that yes, what you do today could improve your hamstring flexibility, but it also depends on what did you do yesterday and the day before and last week? And more precisely, what are you going to be doing tomorrow and next week and next month and next quarter and next year? That's going to determine. They're really, so, you mentioned like how long is it going to take, and I think there's starting to act and be healthier, or starting and acting, doing what needs to be done in order to regain some hamstring flexibility. But as far as to make it permanent, well, you can't just eat healthy once and then have a healthy diet. You can't exercise once and be fit, right? You can't have a really good day at work where you brought home one good paycheck and be set for life. You need to continue to do it. It's a lifestyle. So if you like the results you've gotten from doing the exercises that I recommended in that video, then I would say continue doing them. For how long? Really for forever, until you start addressing the foundations of your health. And then you may not have to do it every day. You may not have to do it at all if you're moving more. I speak more on this in other episodes. You can't, movement is more like a food diet, and exercise is more like a supplementation. You don't fill up on pills, or at least I hope you don't, and then have a little bit of grass-fed beef and some broccoli on the side. No, you fill up on the grass-fed beef and the broccoli, and then if you need, have some B vitamins or D or whatever you're maybe low in, and have that on the side. Okay, so again, the Rent Axiom: success is never owned, it is only rented, and the rent is due every day. So something important to keep in mind. And again, head on over to optimizedself.ninja, take the Optimized Self test, and then hopefully in a future episode I could give you more precise guidance as to what to do next. Okay, but thank you for writing a comment, and I look forward to reading the test results of the Optimized Self test, and seeing you again in a future episode. All right, so let's move on to the third and final question topic. Before I do, let me grab some water. Okay, so, and as you can probably tell, I'm on the floor and I'm kind of moving around, right? Everybody always asks, what's the best position to sit in? I always say your next position is your best position. Try not to become stagnant in one position for more than about 20 minutes. All right, so Bob wrote in, and I believe Bob is a returning guest questioner from episode 11. He had a question about lordosis, if I remember correctly, so hopefully I am, Bob. By the way. Okay, here we go. So Bob writes in, hi, I was intrigued by your health pyramid and wonder if you go into particulars about the bottom tiers, breathing and sleep, in the Optimized Self Quick Start Guide. If so, I'll buy it. I'm in fairly good shape for an old guy, 68. Bob, you're in good company. Barbara, who wrote in from Surrey, BC, was 66, I believe. So, and to Bob and to Barbara, I'm not sure how old Mcpvpstuff from YouTube is, but to Barbara and Bob, it absolutely warms my heart to see people, anything older than 50, interacting with people, online like this. I absolutely love it. I'm a bit of a techie, but I love that people, like I said, older than 50 are using it to research and better themselves and interact with one another. Absolutely love it. So sorry, I had to go off on that little tangent and just share my love for that. Okay, so I'm in fairly good shape for an old guy, 68, and that's not really old, 68 is not old anymore. Mainly doing Tai Chi and Tang Soo Do or Do. I think it's Tang Soo Do. You can correct me, Bob, if I'm wrong on that. And walking for exercise, but do have lower back problems occasionally and find your exercises for hyperlordosis helpful. I've come to the conclusion in my own experience that the more mindful of my own breathing, the more I'm mindful of my own breathing, the better I feel. If I had to add up the hours in the day that I am breathing consciously and deeply, though it's pitifully small, and I sleep okay, but haven't slept through the whole night or woke feeling really refreshed more than 2 or 3 times in 30 years. Yikes. I suspect the aging process is related to that. I like your approach. That good health is more than exercise, but a whole lifestyle approach. Thanks for your informative tubes, Bob. Awesome. Bob, thank you for your kind words and well wishes. So yeah, I want to show you, and so everybody else knows what Bob's referring to, if you don't already, about the health pyramid, or foundations of health pyramid, whatever you want to refer to it as. So I'm going to do a screen share and show you, okay, Bob and everyone else. So let's go here, and dun, dun, dun. All right, where? Okay, so I'm going to share this window with you, and let me make sure. Yep, looks like everyone could see that. So this is what Bob, I believe, was referring to, and this was actually in a slide I talked about the optimized self system. And basically, the pyramid there is the 7 foundations of health that I refer to. Okay, and at the bottom there's breathing, on top of that hydration, on top of that sleep, then nutrition, stress, movement, and exercise. Now, exercise is not at the top because it's the most important. Actually, contrary to that, exercise, although important, is the least important, least efficient way of getting from where you currently are to where you want to be. And these 7 foundations of health, the way that I, if you want to say came up with them or sequence them in this order, because if you think about it, what do we need in order to survive as humans and ultimately thrive, right? You can exercise for a long time, and other than maybe not being as fit or mobile or anything, you're not going to die. But take breathing away, and most people, after a few minutes of not having air, are going to perish. They're going to die. Now, it's not as simple as just, oh, are you breathing? Okay, check. But it's the quality of breathing. Are you breathing from your diaphragm, east, west? Are you breathing more in your chest, kind of thoracic area, neck, shoulders, which is fine if you're running from, for example, say a cheetah, but not fine if you're sitting down at dinner, just conversing with friends and family. Okay, so that's why I have breathing down there on the bottom, and then hydration, and then sleep. And as you can kind of see with these dotted lines, the reason I put those dotted lines there is when I work with people one-on-one, or they bring me on as a retainer to have access to me pretty much 24/7, with the exception of when I'm sleeping. This is kind of the checklist, if you want to, I guess, call it, that we go through. We first go, okay, how's your breathing? And let's optimize it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but let's get it to 80%, 80 to 100% optimal, okay? And we work on breathing, hydration, and sleep. And that's what I refer to as stage 1, not to confuse as phase, because phases you go through, stages you add on to. So this is stage 1, all right? This is recovering your health. Then as that person, whether I'm working one-on-one or inside the dojo, they've optimized, they got their breathing, hydration, and sleep under control. They've addressed those. They have them 80 to 100% optimized. They've recovered their health. Then we move on to stage 2, which is upgrading your fitness. And that's when we address nutrition and stress. Then once we've covered that, we've got that all in order, then we move on to stage wellness. And wellness, some people, if you're not quite sure on what's there's health, fitness, wellness, there's health, there's fitness, and health and fitness combined is wellness. So movement and exercise at the top, that's what finally brings everything together, and that's stage 3, optimize your wellness. And then the 2 rings that you see around it, the environment and mindset, those really, I don't consider, but they're 2, and why I put them in a circular fashion like that is they're 2 things, 2 factors, if you will, that are always circling the 7 foundations of your health and either positively or negatively influencing them. Okay, so it's important to keep those in mind. And to answer Bob's questions, yes, I go much deeper and wider into each of these foundations of health. I actually have a presentation, usually about 45 minutes to an hour, on each of these foundations of health. So definitely breathing, hydration, and sleep. Those first ones, the ones that you mentioned, which would be stage 1, where I go into how to optimize each of those foundations of health. So it's, I believe, in the Optimized Self Dojo, which actually does include the Optimized Self Quick Start Guide. So you get that, but you get access to the entire dojo. And inside the dojo lives what I refer to as the Optimized Self Arsenal, which is basically a accumulation of tools, guides, and resources, which include the optimizing your breathing module, optimizing your hydration module, sleep, and so on and so forth. And that'll teach you how to go about optimizing each of those. So yes, it is included inside, and I will put a link in the show notes below. And Bob, I will send you, actually, you know what? I'm gonna actually show you, because I think I made, yeah, I made a note on how to share that. So let me change the share. Oops, I brought me back. Sorry there, didn't mean to do that. All right, let's go to entire screen. You're gonna get some kind of matrix effect here. Sorry about that. And let's go to optimizeself.ninja. And Bob, this is how you'll join the dojo, okay? And you'll get access to the Optimized Self Quick Start Guide and all the optimizing your breathing, hydration, sleep modules, and everything else. For Bob or anyone else interested in learning what's inside, if you go to optimizeself.ninja, again, there's the logo, the video player where you can watch each of the episodes of the show. Here's the button to take the Optimized Self test. And then if you scroll below here, it says continue reading to open the Komodo and take a peek inside the dojo. This is everything that's included in the Optimized Self Dojo. And you know, there's the first aid kit. Sorry about that. And then here's the optimizing your breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, yada, yada, yada. I won't bore you reading all of it, but you can read all about what's inside. So you would basically go down. There's two places where you can sign up, but if you went here, click here to enter the dojo, and that'll take you to here. Now, you'll see 4 choices, and it says Optimized Self Dojo, Lifetime Membership Access number 14, 15, 16, 17. These upgrade as memberships get purchased. And some people have said, you know, what's the difference? Well, if you click on them to learn, you know, what's included in each, the description will be the same. It's because you get access to the Optimized Self Dojo and Arsenal. Basically, it's, you know, over $3,650 worth of tools, guides, and resources. That's just in the first year, because taking into consideration we do weekly live trainings, which you're invited to partake in. So all of that, and each membership is $1 more. Okay, so right now you can get started for 14. If someone buys that, then the next one's 15, 16, 17, and basically I'm offering them, so each one is $1 more, okay? So Bob, that's how you would get started. You would just basically click this, you would add to cart, okay, and then you would proceed to checkout, and you would fill that out, and then you would use PayPal. You do not need a PayPal account to check out. They're just the payment processor that I use. If you do have a PayPal account and you have funds in there, you can use it to pay. Otherwise, you can use a debit card, credit card, whatever else PayPal does, but I guess those would be probably the ways you would go about it. All right, then you'll be sent to a page, as well as you'll be sent a welcome email that'll have the link to the Optimized Self Dojo, which I will show you here. Okay, which is a private Facebook group. And then this button, right? I mean, this is my group, so it says joined, but it'll be green. You can click it. It says join. I'll get an alert saying that you've requested access to it. It literally takes me 1 click. I give you access, and then you can come in here and you can say hi to me and the other Optimized Self ninjas and ninjettes. Introduce yourself. There's this pinned post at the top actually kind of tells you, you know, step by step what to do to kind of get the most out of the group. You can find members here. Upcoming events. So here's where our last events. You can watch replays of those. And any upcoming events will be there. And then if you go to File and the Optimized Self Arsenal, it will open here. All right, let me go to viewing here. And this is the Optimized Self Arsenal, and you will find, here's the table of contents. I'll let you look through this. I'm not going to bore you with all of it, but here we go. Optimizing your breathing, hydration, sleep. Those are the ones that you particularly asked about. So if you, for example, went to breathing, boom, it'll take you right there. Here's to watch the replay of the presentation. Here's the one for the slides, some self-myofascial release techniques to enhance your breathing, how to breathe into restricted areas, exercise routines depending on your posture, so as to kind of get rid of anything that's holding you back from proper breathing mechanics, or I should say to restore proper breathing mechanics, and so on and so forth, okay? So let me stop the screen share there. So that's basically, Bob, how you would go about it. And yeah, right now you can get in for $14. So that's, you know, huge. That's phenomenal. Every time I share that with some people in a business mastermind, they think I'm crazy that I'm just doing $1 an additional one. I guarantee you it will not stay that way going later into the year, and then definitely going into next year. So yeah, I would love to have you as a part of the dojo and a member. And the really cool thing, I was just writing someone else earlier, is that the way that the group is set up is it's kind of crowdsourcing of knowledge and experience. And so with each additional member, you get access to the arsenal and all that good stuff, but with each additional member, it exponentially grows the value of the group. Especially during the live trainings, where you could either text-wise me questions and I'll be answering them live, or I can send you a special link. And if you have, well, I know you have a computer because you wrote me an email, but if you have a webcam as well as some headphones, you can actually hop on the live stream with me, and we can discuss whatever you deem is most important, and put our heads together as well as with the other ninjas and ninjettes, and come up with whatever solution best suits your needs. So, which is a lot of fun too. I love the interaction. I love the group dynamic of it all. So. Which is why I started Optimized Self Ninja. Again, kind of the posture guy was a jumping off point from there. So it includes all the good and great stuff of the postureguy.com, and then some, the whole lifestyle design approach. Okay. So anyways, I think that covers it. So Bob, thank you very much. I got one more thing to share with you guys, but before I do, I'm gonna grab some water just to signal myself that this is an outro. All right, let's see here. Close some windows, try to give my computer a break. I hear the fan going. Okay, yeah, I think that covers it. I want to thank Barbara Mcpvpstuff from YouTube and Bob for writing in and submitting questions and comments. Special thanks to Barbara for your donation. Thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing Barbara in the Optimized Self Dojo, as well as hopefully Bob. And before I go, something I just wanted to share with you guys was, a lot of people know me from the postureguy.com, and they know I do postural alignment therapy, which I do, and a lot of the exercises I use are maybe positions you go in and hold statically, or isometrics. I'm really researching, practicing, and using more kind of natural development movements, by which I mean, if you think about if you have kids or grandkids, or remember when you were a kid, the way that we kind of started as kids, right? Probably first on just your back, flailing your arms and legs around until being able to roll over, pick up your head, then kind of doing rocking motions, and then eventually be able to crawl, and then maybe sitting, and then standing, and eventually taking your first steps, that kind of thing. So some kind of more natural development movements, rocking, crawling, things like that, to regain certain lost range of motion, some kind of cross patterning that I think a lot of people don't get. And in the past, it's something I've used before. I'm just kind of, I guess you can say, kind of with the trend, using it more and more with myself and some of the people I'm working with, friends, family. Someone who does it really, really well, who really their specialty is this, is the guys over at Original Strength. And again, I keep on meaning to look this up. It's either originalstrength.com or .net. Google it, and they'll be, I'm sure, the first 1 to 3 things that pop up. But they do really great stuff there, really great video tutorials on how to, crawl and bear crawl and rocking and things like that. So I'm using that more, as well as not just realigning posture through, contractions and stretches and things like that, but also I think something that often gets kind of lost and overlooked is looking at, hey, are you missing range of motion due to immobility in your joint capsule? So this is something I've done before, but I'm just kind of revisiting and learning more and playing around with this joint capsule mobilization techniques. And I can say that some new stuff that I've been trying around just kind of on myself, still kind of alpha beta stage of development, working really, really well. Some people that I've learned a lot from is Kelly Starrett from Mobility WOD. Some of you might be familiar with him. There's some other people that do some great stuff. And sometimes I'll use exactly what they show. Other times I'll use that and then kind of go exploring and kind of riff off that and go, oh, this was great. But for me, if I do this little tweak differently, that works much better. So yeah, I think that's important to mention, because a lot of people, especially coming from the posture.com, are so focused on what's the exercise or the sequence of exercise I should do to get this desired result. And that's fine, but you got to keep in mind that you can't out-exercise a suboptimal, or worse yet, poor lifestyle. Okay, I'm sitting right now with one leg up and the other down, and you've noticed during the show I've been kind of switching around. Now I'm kind of just squatting. I'm on my feet, but both knees are out this way. I don't want to pan down and force you guys. It's kind of like a forced crotch shot, but this spending more time here is going to matter much more than 15, 20, or 30 minutes of postural corrective exercise. So again, it's something I've said before, but definitely bears repeating, is that the human body is a stimulus response organism, and it responds to stimulus 24/7 without prejudice. So it's what you do the majority of the time that matters, not your best intentions. So again, exercise is great. I love exercise, whether it be corrective posture exercise, lifting weights, power lifting, plyometrics, isometrics, all the types of exercise I'm a fan of. But they cannot, and it's not fair to put the onus on them to fix everything. Okay, it's a losing battle. You're never going to exercise your way into proper health. It's a component. It's part of the recipe, but it is not the recipe. It's not the one and only thing. Okay, so just something important to keep in mind. Anyways, thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you guys inside the next episode of the Optimized Self Show. Oh, I almost forgot. If you are watching this, well, if you're not watching this on OptimizedSelf.ninja, you are watching it on YouTube. In which case, please, if you like the episode, if you've learned something from this, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, I guess you could give it a thumbs down. Probably better yet, this would be a good time for kind of quiet reflection and everything. Don't talk to many people. No, if you didn't like it, then tell me, and tell me what you would like to see on the show, because the whole point of this is to provide you the most value in terms of health, fitness, wellness, lifestyle that I can. I want to be of most value and be of most service to you. So tell me what you would like, and I will definitely do my best to accommodate you and your needs. If you know someone who you think would benefit from the information on the show, please do them and me a favor and share it with them. I know they would appreciate you thinking of them, and I would appreciate it, and you get to be both our heroes for making that connection. All right. And if you haven't already done so, please head over to OptimizedSelf.ninja, take the Optimized Self test, because those are the questions that I first answer that are kind of priority for the Optimized Self show that I answer. Okay, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to me over on YouTube. It's youtube.com/OptimizedSelfNinja. All right. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you inside the next episode. Until then, take care and be a good human.